Hello, and welcome to AWS Live with the PGA Tour here at the Tour Championship. I'm Amanda Balionis, coming to you live from historic East Lake Golf Club in Atlanta, Georgia. Over the next 2 days, we're diving into the world of golf, technology, and AI with exclusive interviews and special features showcasing AWS's partnership with the PGA Tour. As the official cloud provider of the PGA Tour, AWS is instrumental in the Tour's ongoing technological evolution through artificial intelligence, deep learning, and machine learning services. Now, if those phrases sound scary, they won't by the end of today. We will also be highlighting AWS's involvement with the Creator Classic, which included the use of Tourcast for the first time yesterday. This tool gave fans on-site and at home even more access and insights as they followed their favorite creators. Now, speaking of the Creator Classic, to get some of the event's competitors into game mode on Tuesday, AWS hosted Chris Solomon and Roger Steele for a unique AI boot camp, exploring how AI is transforming how we all experience the game of golf. Let's take a look.
What's up? It's your boy Roger Steele here with my good friend Sally, and we are both so excited to be participating in the Creator Classic here at East Lake. But as you could imagine, we are both looking for competitive advantages. So we tapped in with our friends at AWS to learn how their AI tools can help us on and off the course.
Well, what AWS is doing is really helping customers use generative AI in the way that they want. And we're really trying to empower enterprises across all aspects of how they might use generative AI in their business.
We are looking to schedule our next project and are considering Asia as a destination. All right, Pebble Beach of Japan, opened in 1936, the Kawana Hotel Golf Course. Postcard, perfect holes and views of Mount Fuji. Bali National Golf Club in Indonesia.
How'd that do?
Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, that's interesting.
All right, Sally, we got the Creator Classic tomorrow. We got Tourcast powered by AWS up here. We're gonna go through the back nine of last year's Tour Championship winner.
So we saw an 1,800 spin rate off the 10th tee and a 3,100 spin rate here off of the 14th tee. I wonder how intentional that is in terms of, is he hitting like a little flighted shot off 10 and he's launching it up higher with spin on 14?
You know what the interesting thing about tour players are is that I hit the ball far for an amateur golfer, but it's a very inefficient strike. No matter how much more ball speed you have than a tour guy, they know how to get the most out of that golf shot. You know what, as I'm reflecting on that Tourcast data that we just looked at, you need to control spin rates into these greens to be able to give yourself any type of reasonable look.
Watching these guys practice it, and I'm watching it in the Tourcast as well, the heavy contours in these greens and where the actual hole locations are, missing 20 feet on any side of the hole is not all equal.
11 playing 225, and also 15 at 215.
If I'm 4 under when I get to 15, I'm laying up to another tee box, I think, and just hitting a wedge.
Roger, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Now, before we get into this AI boot camp, let's talk about the Creator Classic yesterday. A new scoring record was carded, but it was by neither of you. The scores, in the words of Roger Steele, were trash?
Trash. Very trash.
I'm allowed to say it if you say it first, right?
You did say it first right there, though. You said it first.
But like, okay, in history, I guess I was referencing historical data. Okay, so let's just talk about the Creator Classic. How much fun was it? I mean, aside from the scores, I guess. Tell me a little bit about what you were proud of.
Despite the scores, it was a lot of fun. Anytime I get to play with Roger is a lot of fun. It's really fun to get in that environment to kind of test your, the competitive nerves and the adrenaline that comes from playing in front of people. Even when it doesn't go well, it's still a lot of fun. You learn a little bit about yourself. Yeah. I didn't like what I learned, but I did learn a little bit about myself.
Those are always the toughest lessons, but usually the most valuable. Okay.
Yeah, and same here. I thought that last year I had such a good go around East Lake. I kind of came into this with a bit too much confidence. And so I lied to myself and, looking at the Tourcast data from, last year's champion, I was like, I could do a lot of those things. And East Lake promptly and swiftly and aggressively reminded me that I'm not who I think I am. And but it was also fun to learn that about myself.
That's also one of my favorite Roger Steele isms. I'm not who I think I am. And I feel like you weirdly learn that a lot.
I do.
Now he's going to wake up tomorrow and he's going to be right back in the same cycle, though.
What I'm hearing is a lot of self-reflection, but welcome to the game of golf. It's the best, worst game of all time. It can drive all of us insane. I think we do have a comparison, though, from Tourcast that we're going to take a look at from the 17th hole side by side, how differently you two will play the game. And Roger, for you, your strength is off the tee, right? Even though you said your swing's inefficient, ball goes far.
Ball goes far. So tee shot on 17.
Were you aiming for this fairway?
I was aiming at the left edge of the right fairway, and I pulled it.
Okay.
And I knew that at that middle point, I could hit it left and right and be safe.
All right.
Wow, how
Say
about
so.
Chris? Just assuming you're not doing things on purpose over here.
I mean,
I know, Roger.
Like I didn't go through enough yesterday. It's like, did you? No, Chris, Sally, I did not aim over there. It's fine.
But at the end of the day, you did get the better of Roger Steele in the 17th.
I honestly can't believe you guys picked this hole because this is the only hole that went well for me. So thank you for
You're
that.
welcome.
But I was in the fairway bunker. I had 131 yards in, hit a little pitching wedge.
Yep.
And hit it in there to a nice spot and made the birdie putt. And that got me within shouting distance of Roger. We have a little side bet for each one of these that we've done.
Love that.
I scared him a little bit at the end, but he got me by one shot. I have an embarrassing debt I will have to pay, unfortunately. But there's two different ways to kind of play, a lot of different ways to play some of these holes. Most of the time yesterday, we showed you the wrong way to play them, but we showed you two good ways to play the 17th hole.
We're all about kindness here at AWS Live. That's the reason why we chose that hole. And also, you do mention the side bets. Tourcast is kind of great if you're a fantasy golfer, if you're into gambling. That's not really my thing, but that is one of the benefits. But that's not actually what I'm supposed to be talking about right now. So we'll get back on track. It tends to happen. First time ever that Tourcast has been introduced for the Creator Classic. If you're a fan at home and maybe you're just getting familiar with what Tourcast is and you've seen it with, the PGA Tour players out here, why was that so cool? And how does it enhance the fan experience?
I'll say, regrettably, I opened up my phone after that, and immediately my friends saw the artwork from the 12th hole, and they were like, I have to understand what happened here.
Oh, it's great for roasting.
It is.
Okay.
It's very good for
Okay.
roasting for us. Have to understand, how did you hit a driver 207 yards? Roger hit his 365. You hit it looks like through somebody's legs on the 11th tee, which is accurate. It's just a visual illustration for how wrong things can go. We're used to seeing, Roger and I went through it, the boot camp the other day, and we saw, the champion from 2024 play the back nine, and it was like, you were like, oh, this looks incredibly easy.
Yeah.
And then you go up and stand up and hit the shots, and we created some artwork that proves that it's not incredibly easy.
You know what's so funny is right when you said that, I'm like, we always say there's no pictures on the scorecard, and Tourcast is shattering that. There's no hiding anymore. But Roger, let's talk about the AI boot camp. Expectations versus reality. What were you expecting going in? That would be a very scary thing for me to be invited to. So what were you thinking it was going to be versus what it was?
I was just open to learning. I'm constantly taken aback by the ways that AI can just enhance processes and streamline efficiencies to help me be better at the things that I'm trying to be better at. But going back into it, I wish that I would have asked it more strategic questions on how I should be navigating. Because I feel like, AI has this really objective way of looking at things that would have put my ego back in check. I was hitting some shots yesterday that I just know I shouldn't have. And if I could have just asked it, like, strategically, for somebody that plays like me as inconsistently as I play, how should I put myself into the right frame of mind to not humiliate myself and only beat Solly by one shot? Could we cue that prompt up somehow? Like,
using it for course management is actually a really interesting thing. But Roger,
we use it for swing lessons. Like, we should have got a swing evaluation.
And for psychology too.
Yeah.
okay, but let's be honest. If you asked for the smart choice and that's what AI gives you, are you listening to it?
No, but I want to know I want to know what I should be doing though. I want to know what I don't know. And so that's,
you would be asking, all right, how can I look the coolest, the swaggiest? So how can I impress all these folks that they're going to want to invite me to all their parties? And then you would be swinging as hard as you can, like you do on every shot. Like that's what would have happened.
Okay, fair point. Fair
Wow,
point.
that was a really passive. That was a real backhanded compliment right there.
I know my guy. He's
All
got
right.
skills. He wants to show them off.
Chris, for you, is there anything that you learned? Because I think this is all of us with AI right now, right? It's kind of intimidating, but then once someone explains it to you, you're like, oh my gosh, this can make my life so much easier. Was there anything that they introduced to you that you're like, yeah, I'll continue using this now every day?
Well, it's one thing, like, you wouldn't just say, to an AI machine, like, give me some golf advice. Like, you need to prompt it to help you, right?
Right.
To say, I think we used it to say, like, you are a sports psychologist. I'm going to be out of my comfort zone. I don't do this on a weekly basis, but, I'm going to be playing golf in front of a lot of people. What are 5 to 6 tips I should take with me to the first? And it gave great advice. It said, stay present, view this as an opportunity.
Yeah, that's cool.
Don't be nervous. Look, Does the AI know that it's impossible not to be nervous? Maybe not, but it was some really good advice. I wish I could have put it into play. Maybe I didn't upload my entire mental history problems with the game of golf into it, which maybe if I did, it would have maybe something different.
I can feel therapists and sports psychologists shivering right now, hoping no one's watching this, because this is way less expensive than going to a physical person and seemingly just as impactful. Roger, how about you? Did you learn anything that you're yeah, I'll implement this?
It's the same thing. It's the prompting. And I just think that the capabilities are endless. Where I have questions, I'm just way more prone to go to AI to help me start to make sense of how I should be approaching problems. I mean, it's just an infinite problem solver. The applications for golf seem limitless. And I'm just, after that boot camp, I'm excited to just dive in to the world of AI and see how I could just get better at day-to-day life and golf.
I was using AI last night, and I was searching something, and I guess I had searched it before, and it said, "As we told you earlier." And I was like, was that per my last email? Did ChatGPT just give me attitude? So you said it's objective. I don't know.
I'm always nice to the AI. So I say please whenever I ask anything. If I ask them to redo something, I'm like, I'm so sorry, I didn't prompt you. Be as nice as possible to the AI.
Apparently, that's environmentally not the safest thing to do. You waste a lot of energy. That's for another show. We don't need to talk about that right now. All right, back to perception versus reality. AI in sports in general, it's fascinating. I mean, you see tennis using it. You see the NFL using it. Just talk about how important AI now is going to be in sports and maybe specifically golf, but maybe even something else you guys are excited about.
I just think it speeds up your access to information can get there so much faster, right? Whereas you're gaining efficiencies. I wish I had a crew of 4 to 5 people that could do research for me, and we can't afford to hire that level, but I can now access information so much faster to be able to deliver it in an interesting way for our followers quickly on the spot. If I'm in the middle of a show and I need to look something up, that resource is now available to me. And you just see that extrapolated across a bunch of different sports, and being able to turn that function on with Bedrock, to turn the live function on, to be able to do live research. That's some of the challenges that come up with, hey, AI is not always the best. It's trained on it as of a certain time. It's not great at being able to use live information to kind of work on top of the systems. I'm probably not explaining it right, but that's the way I learned it in the boot camp. That was eye-opening to me to say, all right, you can also use it to get to that next level in research, to have fast, ready information available.
What I'm hearing is Bedrock's not going to give me attitude if I forget that I searched something earlier.
It might.
This is so scary. Okay, Roger, what about you? AI in sports, what's the coolest thing about it?
It's really just the time savings on recognizing trends and being able to stay up to date with things that are happening, developing storylines, getting information to help you better prepare. Because I mean, let's face it, life is getting busier for everybody. There's so many things to consume, so many outlets to consume them on. The better we can synthesize information, the better that we can learn and understand how to apply that information, the better we're all going to be at our jobs, and the more we're going to enjoy, quality time with each other. So I'm looking at the way that it streamlines things as a way to facilitate connection in moments that matter.
Roger, I know you're not saying things are busier just because you have one baby at home. This guy has 3, and I haven't heard him complain once about how busy things are. So maybe
you're one of few that
maybe a little baby boot camp, AI boot camp, and baby boot camp needs to happen on this stage. But maybe that's for tomorrow. They're telling me all year, stop talking about things that are not on your cards. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Very fun watching you yesterday, and I look forward to your coverage for the rest of the week here at the Tour Championship.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you guys. In March, the PGA Tour worked with AWS to launch a new Tourcast AI commentary tool powered by Amazon Bedrock. Now, not only does the tool describe every shot, but more importantly, it provides context for what that shot means for each player based on his current performance and upcoming shot, as well as how it relates to the broader competition. So even if your favorite player is not featured in the broadcast, guys, we can't cover them all. With a simple click, you can simply find out why your favorite player is doing well, maybe what they're struggling with, or even how their current performance is impacting their odds. And yesterday, for the first time, this AI technology and commentary was available for fans during the Creator Classic.
We're going to compare these creators' drives at 14, last year's Tour Championship tee shots presented by AWS. Go to the first grouping here at the 14th. See the longest drive, 378. Average drive, 334. No surprise, Aaron, Roger passed that average drive from the Tour players a year ago. And then you see Short Game King there, Solly as well.
All right, Julie Souza and Chad Mumm are joining us, and let's just jump right into it. Chad, the origin story of the Creator Classic. I've known you for a really long time now, actually, and you are a creative mind who never stops, so it's no surprise that you created something like this that's hugely successful.
Well, thanks, Amanda. It's great to be here, and thanks to AWS for having us. So the Creator Classic got started last year. Our first event a year ago here at East Lake, but the idea was really born at the Players Championship. And I had a conversation with PGA Tour leadership where we were looking at this explosion in creator golf. And it was an audience that was very different from the usual PGA Tour audience. It was based on YouTube, based on Instagram, social media. TikTok was blowing up. You saw all these young people coming into the game and really not identifying golf with the PGA Tour. And so, there had been a lot of these creators, and some of them, just on the show, Roger and obviously Solly, that had, had some ad hoc relationships with the PGA Tour. They'd been out for videos, they'd done some things, but it was always kind of a one-off.
Yeah.
And so my pitch basically to sort of Jay and his team was, why don't we just grab all of it and let's just create an event, which we kind of nicknamed Space Camp for YouTube golfers.
Which I love. Didn't we all want to go to Space Camp when we were little?
100%.
Did you go?
I never got to go.
Did you go?
No.
Oh,
Wish.
okay.
We should
for
go.
3.
Yeah. We should go as adults.
Is it too late?
Probably not.
Okay.
But we thought, okay, let's take what only the PGA Tour could do, which is a fully built out golf course the day before a tournament starts, inside the ropes, all of the infrastructure. Let's do a broadcast that feels as authentic to a PGA Tour broadcast as possible. It's literally using all the same technology, and go and find a bunch of the best golfers, creator golfers, not just the most popular ones, but the ones that have real game, and put them in a high pressure situation where they're playing stroke play from the same tees as the pros, with 10 to 20,000 fans in front of them. And I was shocked that they turned and said, actually, yeah, let's do it. That's a great idea. And hats off to the PGA Tour for embracing it. And they came back to me and said, why don't we start it at East Lake? It's our season-ending championship. The course we're excited about. It'll be the first time actually that fans see the revised, renovated East Lake. It was actually creators hitting tee shots off of 10, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And the first one was a smashing hit. And now we just wrapped up the third one in our sort of first full creator series, sponsored by YouTube here yesterday at East Lake.
It's such a great reminder of how uniquely positioned the game of golf is, right? That you could have these YouTubers, TikTokers, Instagram, influencers who have millions of followers, and those followers know nothing about the PGA Tour, and that's only possible because it's on a stage that is universally open to anyone who wants to go find a public course, pick up some clubs, and figure it out. Unlike F1, unlike NFL, you simply cannot recreate this influencer movement that's happening anywhere else, right? It's so cool. And Julie, I know that you are super involved in interested in influencers, especially in this golf space. So I want to know what your first reaction was when you heard about the Creator Classic. And then maybe when I'm assuming Chad came to you and said, how do we get AWS involved? How do we get Tourcast here to even take this to another level? Talk to me about your origin story of learning about this and when you really bought in.
Yeah. No, I think, look, this sort of fits with the ethos of the PGA Tour and with, AWS's involvement with the tour, which is how do you make, the sport of golf accessible to as many fans as possible, right?
Yeah.
So it completely fits with that that ethos. And I think when you look at something like Tourcast, which you mentioned, and that's gathering all the data off the course and then delivering it and then leveraging things like AI for commentary against all of the shots on the course. That's where we can take tech and sort of just up the game a little bit. And really, again, with the hope and the intent of making golf as accessible to any fan anywhere.
And also, I think doing a really great job of comparing PGA Tour players to scratch golfers, right? Because so often fans at home think they're pretty comparable. And I think it's actually easy to think that because these guys make it look so easy. It's kind of like thinking NBA players aren't that fast, right? Because they're all so fast.
This is where the data, right?
And this is where the data comes in.
Yeah.
So for you guys to be able to really showcase that in a back-to-back way, right? The Creator Classic happens yesterday. Chris had a really good point. He was joining us earlier, and he basically said, yeah, the Tourcast data is great for my friends to roast me because when I hit really embarrassing shots, there's proof and there's no hiding from it. But to me, as a broadcaster, I think it's a really beautiful way to show just how good these guys are by highlighting your favorite golfers who have a very low index.
Yeah.
But it still looks real different.
I mean, it's the data helps provide context, right? And that's what you're talking about there. And so, I mean, just to put numbers on it, in a typical golf tournament, the PGA Tour is collecting 53 million points of data. Right?
53 million.
53 million, right? That's a tremendous amount of data that feeds things like Tourcast and feeds things like the commentary actually within Tourcast, which the tours recently launched, right? And that's leveraging generative AI tools and things like that we're very fortunate at AWS to work with them on. But it's all about that context. And I think we were having this conversation the other day too about the data can sometimes people get a little nervous. Like, oh gosh,
it can be intimidating.
Yeah,
for sure.
Is it going to be over my head? Is it going to be, sort of make me feel silly or stupid about what I want? Not at all. Not if we're doing it right, right? If we're doing it right, this data helps you understand what you're seeing and really the feats of exceptionalism and athleticism and comparing, creators to Scotty or Rory, right?
Good luck with that. Yeah. It's funny. That is a little tip for all of you watching at home. If someone is explaining something over your head, it's just because they don't understand it either. Like, I remember when the PGA Tour first rolled out the idea of strokes gained, and that had been a stat that had been collected for a long time, but then they decided to make it forward-facing. And the stress that everyone had to make it digestible, but the moment we could understand it as broadcasters and explain to the fans, none of it's rocket science. Right? It's all really easy to understand if you're just willing to take the time and kind of break those barriers down. And now that we're talking about TV nerd things, which is, my passion, Chad, talk to me about what goes into actually streaming the Creator Classic. Like, what people are seeing at home, there's a lot that goes into that final 10% final product.
Absolutely. Well, no one would know better than you.
I love it so much.
It's amazing. We have so many great tools to use, and actually we are using all the infrastructure that's already in place. We produce the show out of the PGA Tour Studios building down in Ponte Vedra, Florida, so our hosts were down in the studio, so they're 500-700 miles away, but connected instantaneously, and we have access to every single feed and all these cameras. The PGA Tour Live produces like 160 hours, something like that, of live content every single week for 4 days. And what makes it possible with all of that technical infrastructure to just stand up a fifth event, pretty seamlessly and basically create the Creator Classic on the back of all of this existing infrastructure. And then when you weave that together with the tour data that we have and things like Tourcast, be able to compare and contrast, as you saw in the intro segment here, we were able to pull the data immediately in real time, crunch the numbers, using cloud processing as Roger Steele's drive is in the air on 14, and create a comparison between his tee shot versus the average on the PGA Tour, which, by the way, he hit it further. And he also told me he laid back on that one a little bit.
Roger being right. He literally can't help himself. Yeah, he can't help himself with that talk, and then he gets really, really dark really fast for Roger Steele. He gets really sad. Okay, let's talk about the evolution of the Creator Classic. I'd love to hear this from both of you. What you envisioned it being versus how it's already evolved in its first year versus, Chad, you're a big idea guy. Where do you hope the Creator Classic is in 5 years?
It was amazing that we even got to do one. I'm kind of surprised we were able to do it.
You said the same thing about Full Swing.
I did. Yeah. I did. Exactly.
That worked out okay.
It worked out okay. But I think that this space, the Creator Classic was really the first of its kind, last year. Nobody really had ever seen anything quite like this. And I think the onus is on us to continue to evolve it. This space has gotten quite crowded in terms of these creators and opportunities for them to play, both on camera and in live scenarios. And so I think the PGA Tour has a platform for being able to offer these both fans of these creators and casual golf fans and the creators themselves a different experience than you could get anywhere else. I mean, there's nothing like this environment. But we have big plans to kind of continue to iterate and tweak. This was our first event that had a purse. So the stakes were high, the winner take all of $100,000. And I can tell
real
you,
money.
Brad Dahlke made that putt. That was a real celebration. It's not just for bragging rights.
Absolutely.
And I think, I don't necessarily think that, purses are going to be the answer per se. I think it's all about storytelling. And so when we started the Creator Classic, the first one was really about, we've never seen all these popular YouTube creators like competing in a PGA Tour tournament, basically, and how would they fare? And that was a novel question that we were able to answer, I think, in a really compelling fashion.
Yeah.
And so what are the stories that viewers and fans want from the PGA Tour, from Pro Shop, from the Creator Classic with these creators? I think we have to continue to iterate and continue to evolve, to continue to make it better, but to also take advantage of all of the tools and toys that the technology here provides.
Chad, I believe there's no shortage. Like, you can never do enough storytelling. That limit does not exist. Julie, for you, give me like the big idea. Where do you hope this evolves to? Where do you see this growing into? Give us some technologically mind-blowing idea.
Well, okay.
No pressure.
Yeah, I'm live. Look, I think that what I like about this is that it's an evolution, actually, right? There's no big bang on this. This is steady work. PGA Tour made the commitment to move, everything to the cloud, and that really unlocked for them a lot of opportunity to innovate. And that's across the business, from just even an operational efficiency standpoint to a content creation standpoint. Every shot live is something they do for the players, right? Where it is what it says.
That could be a lot of shots during the Creator Classic. Be careful what you ask for there.
But then you start thinking about, okay, how do we use tools to help create commentary against that so that every shot has commentary, which doesn't normally happen. I think in an average broadcast, this probably better than I do, about 15% of the shots are actually aired.
That's not our fault.
It's not.
We only have so much time.
Exactly. But if you're like a fan of Victor Hovland, for example, and he's not on the leaderboard, and you're a distributor in Norway, you want to be able to follow the leaderboard and Victor Hovland. And so the tour is enabling that, right? And they have been probably our most prolific partner in the sports space around leveraging generative AI tools. They've got like 30 different projects, that they've launched in this space. And obviously Tourcast is what we're focused on here in the automated commentary that overlays that. But it's going to be a continual build to innovate and bringing more properties into this, like Creator Classic, and bringing them the same tools and technology and innovation. It's just part of the journey, and that's what's so fun.
I always think it's an unfair question, so sorry I did it to you. Like, what's next? Because oftentimes what is next doesn't even exist yet. And that's kind of the coolest part, especially when you talk about technology. But Julie, I have to say, there's someone that's been trying to get Chad's attention over here.
Yeah. Here he is.
It's like, are you two glued at the hip? Dan Rappaport? Chad Mumm?
He tells me to dance, and I dance, so that's how it works.
It's unbelievable. Well,
come on.
I think you should replace your boss for just a second, because we don't have an extra chair or an extra mic.
It's my chair now.
Dan Rappaport, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Of course.
I think we'll just... do you have time? Do you have a second?
Yeah,
we got to just throw you right in. Look how comfortable you just sat right down. You're like, this is where I am meant to be.
Yeah.
You were on the ground yesterday for the Creator Classic. So talk about that role, first of all, just as a role. To me, a walking reporter, and I have been on the record saying this, I think is the hardest job in all of sports.
Yeah, it's tricky.
The hardest job. So how did you learn it? And what was your experience with it yesterday?
It's tricky. You got to pick your spots.
Yeah.
You're doing a dance. You've got a bunch of different voices in your ear. You've got the producer. You're hearing the broadcast itself, and you're waiting for them to come to you. But then you're also trying to kind of fill the blanks and try and. I think I'm sure we're going to talk about this. With all the data that's available, everyone already knows where the ball is. Everyone already knows how far. You got to come in there with nuggets that you can only get from the ground, because the technology does so much of the work for you. Like, we know immediately how far a drive went. We know immediately how far someone has in. So it's about filling in the gaps with color that you could only get from being on the ground.
It's honestly why I am always in awe of our team at CBS. Like, when I listen to Dottie Pepper jump in at the right time with the right information in 7 seconds and get out in time for Jim and Trevor to do their thing, it is literal art. Like, it is Hall of Fame level art. And I feel like because they make it look so easy, it's hard to contextualize like oftentimes on the golf course, that it's a really difficult thing to do.
Yeah, it's similar to like when you're watching a PGA Tour event, you're watching the best players in the world. They make it look really simple. I mean, CBS, or Dottie, they're the best in the world at what they do, and Dottie is she's an absolute legend in the industry. The timing is a really underrated aspect of it. There's no rule book for it. You just got to sort of feel it out. And I think, like anything else, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. So
well, and two, I mean, the way she prepares is always. That blows my mind as well. Like she has that down to a science. So it makes me wonder as you're learning how to prepare in that role, because it takes a lot of years to figure out how to prepare the right way in the most effective way. Can Tourcast help you in your preparation? Does it help you while you're on the course? Like, talk to me about maybe the unexpected things that a fan at home isn't thinking about in the way that you use Tourcast as a part of your job.
Well, it just keeps getting better.
Yeah,
is one thing. I remember when it first came out, it was super revolutionary. Now there's all you can click and drag so you can see the perspective of the player. So I mean, I do a broadcast, like a live stream on my channel every Sunday during PGA Tour telecast, and we have the Tourcast up. And so before you even see it on TV, I can click on Tourcast and see what's he looking at. Is that tree going to be in his way? Or when he's on the green, I can look at a rendering of the green, and I can say, okay, we know this putt's going to go downhill and break left to right. And I interact with the chat, so we're always like, oh man, everyone's been leaving this putt on the low side. We know it's going to break a lot. So it just really enhances the fan experience at home. You can feel it's as close to being on the ground without being on the ground as possible. And yeah, you can map out golf courses. You can get a feel for places you've never been before. And then you look at it so much on Tourcast, and you get out here and you're like, that's kind of what I expected it to look like because I know the golf courses already.
We've heard it, but I do want to understand, Julie, how special this partnership is between AWS and the PGA Tour. I mentioned it. You work with the biggest sports organizations in the world, F1, NFL, but they're so different from the game of golf and the access and the people and the data points you can collect. Like, golf really does stand on its own in so many ways. Why does this partnership work so well? And what are you most proud of when you think of the way the AWS and the PGA Tour have come together to really just continue to enhance everyone's experience?
I think what makes it work is that you have two organizations who care deeply about innovation, right? Yeah. And are fueled by it and have that passion, and we push each other all the time. And so that's what makes it exciting. And that's what I think is going to, you asked before, what's next? I think we're going to figure that out together, right? We're always pushing. And what I like about them too is that they're out there trying new tools all the time. We launched Nova in the generative AI space, and they were the first ones that got their hands dirty on it, right? And so it's really exciting to see that sort of sentiment and that shared perspective. And I think what makes it work is sport. Golf is a global sport, and like you said, everybody sort of can access it. It's an accessible sport for so many people. So I think continuing to innovate with the fans in mind. That's what it's all about. It's a lot of fun.
I mean, Dan, it does make me wonder for you, and you were just talking about your streaming and, you're live streaming, you're watching, you're commentating, you're interacting with fans, which gives me so much anxiety to think about doing that live. How can you use AI to streamline that in a more efficient way? Because when you're live, there's very little room for mistakes. You just gotta keep it moving. Like, I almost wonder, this is a selfish question. Can you use AI to filter through the troll comments? Like, are there ways? How can you make it a better experience for the broadcast?
I might have to ask Julie that, because there probably are. I don't know if we have access to those.
Julie, we could do that.
Let's talk.
Oh my gosh, we need a broadcaster AI boot camp.
Yeah. No, I mean, that would be fantastic. There's a lot of noise out there, but no, I mean, we use AI all the time. Like, sometimes, even if you're having trouble with thinking of questions or thinking of, how would a certain person, how would you explain this to a certain person? I think we use it for that. We use it also like on the screen, trying to use as much data as we can, because obviously we're not showing the actual broadcast. It's like a watch along.
Right.
So the more data that we can have on the screen, how far is this guy from the hole? What was the ball speed of that? What is this hole playing, scoring average? We rely very, very heavily on technology in my line of work, because we're trying to be on the cutting edge. We're trying to lean into this streaming online, everything happening live. So it's been, and there's tools the AI tools for editing, content, so that you don't have to have all these editors. It's supercharging this sort of industry in a very new and refreshing way.
I'll also say, like, you're talking about broadcaster tools. I mean, many, properties out there are doing the PGA Tour is certainly doing it. And they took all of their entire video archive, all of their data coming off of the course, 30 years of PDFs for like media guides, right? Everything. And they dumped it into the cloud so that they're able to access it in a way and put sort of, generative AI, natural language search tools on top so that you could, tell me the last time somebody birdied the 13th hole at the Shriners or whatever, up that pops. And so it becomes a research tool. Right?
That's huge. I can't tell you how many times I hit our research guys, either in our CBS truck or even our PGA Tour researchers. And to me, it seems like the most, I'm like, there's no way they're going to be able to track this down that quickly. But maybe that that helps.
They can now, right? And then you think about that, becoming fan-facing at some point.
Yeah.
You sort of give fans the rabbit hole to go down and research the things that they want to. Right?
That would be great for my dad because he always asks me, when's the last time this happened? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. But maybe we'll have less trolls if they have another rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll forget about being mean.
Talk to the language model, not us.
To us. I think we have a lot of ideas here. I'm looking forward to our broadcast AI boot camp.
Yes.
We're going to get that on our calendars.
Doing it.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I feel like we could go on for another hour. It's just so fascinating and it's ever evolving. And it does kind of seem like there's no bad idea because the opportunities are endless.
I knew it was just so exciting. Like there's energy behind it. Everyone's trying to iterate. It's a fun spot to be.
Yeah, this is a good time to be in golf. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Dan. Thank you for letting us kidnap you for a couple of moments.
No
Tell
problem.
your boss, Chad, we said sorry, and thank you to Chad Mumm as well for joining us. This has been an unbelievable discussion, breaking down those barriers of AI, technology, and data around the world of golf.
You can feel the energy bringing together the passionate, energetic AWS community to learn from each other.
The future with AWS I'm most excited about is building upon this incredible partnership that we have.
What AWS is doing with generative AI on top of the infrastructure capability that they've built and enabled all of us with means that what we can build is limitless.
All right, that is going to do it for today's AWS Live with the PGA Tour. We've seen how cloud-powered insights are changing the game from tee to green, and we are just getting started. If you want to follow every swing, every stat, and every storyline in real time via Tourcast, make sure you download the PGA Tour app, your front row seat to the best players in the world. And don't forget, we're back tomorrow for even more exclusive access and interviews with guests from around the world of golf and beyond. Same time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, enjoy the first round of the Tour Championship. We'll see you tomorrow.